Welcome to another episode of the Eric Crocker Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, and I'm excited to kind of jump in and pull the curtain back a little bit on NFL rookie minicamp. We're going to talk about the 49ers rookie minicamp. We're going to talk about a player that's been kind of, I see the highlights out there. All right, Jahcour Pearson, receiver from the XFL, was in rookie mini camp with the 49ers. All right, all that and more. A little bit of backstory on the young, small speedster and the type of receiver he is and the kind of a player comp. And I'm interested to see what the 49ers do with him. I hope everybody's doing well on this beautiful Tuesday morning. It's May 16th. Man, my birthday is in 4 days. Like, bro, I'm about to be 36 years old. 36. And it's really weird thinking about like 36 because I remember 18 years old, going into junior college, and I've lived an entire another life since then. But it feels like it was just yesterday. All right, so what up, everybody? I hope everybody's doing well. Put the flames in the chat. 5 flames if you're feeling great. Anything less than that, you already know, man. Hit me up, DM me. We could talk about it. I talk about my wife and kind of her battle with anxiety, depression, and having me to lean on during those hard times. And she's great now, but having someone to talk to, it always helps. So if you don't got nobody to talk to, man, you got me. You got me, your boy Crock. All right. I see everybody in the chat going up. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I hope everybody in here, we got 49ers. Chanel, let's go. Let's go. Air horn for Chanel. We got Oris. I hope I said that right. Let's go. All right. We got Gammon. Let's go. Let's go. And we got Dynamite Dave. Man, you already know, man. There's Lake Show in that house, man. Lakers playing tonight. All right. Tonight, right? Lakers play tonight. My days are all over the place, man. I just be working and then it's like, oh yeah, my squad plays. Let's go. Let's go. So my guy Dynamite Dave says his birthday is in 3 days. So your birthday is right before mine. So I'm assuming this is 19th is your birthday. Mine is the 20th. And I am the official last of the Taurus. All right. So I am a Taurus. The very next day will be a Gemini. I do have interactions with some Gemini. Listen, I ain't this horoscope, however you say it, person. The moon and the light. What's your sign? I ain't that type of person. But I will say, I'm around 3 Geminis, a decent amount. Both of my daughters. One is born May 26th. The other one's May 31st. And my baby mama. And I would say that they all have a little bit of bipolarness to them. My daughter Pickle's like the happiest person ever. And then randomly she just, I don't know, the most emotional person ever. And I think that goes for my other daughter and my baby mama as well. They just, Geminis, I think they wear their hearts on the sleeves. And I don't know which version of them I'm going to get from day to day, but I love them regardless. I love them regardless. They probably say the same thing about me, though. Like, man, we don't know what Eric Crocker we going to get. All right, or dad, or, however you look at me. But anyways, let's go, man. Let's go. I wasn't sure if I was going to come on this morning. I'm like, nah, man, we're going to talk about it. All right. And I think rookie minicamp is a good place to start because you see some of the flashes, the highlights, and things going out right now. And I wanted to kind of give, my perspective on it and then talk about Jahcour Pearson. I hope I'm saying his name right. And then we can talk about whatever it is that y'all want to get into for the remaining time. So rookie minicamp. First of all, what is rookie minicamp? We know the draft happens, and then shortly after the draft, you have a rookie minicamp. And a rookie minicamp, we know as, hey, man, your drafted players. Those are guys that get an opportunity to get on the field. But what exactly are these NFL teams really trying to do? And ideally, what they're trying to do is field enough players to where they can get a legit opportunity to see their young guys, give them the playbook, teach them, and you just get all the reps. And when I say playbook, they keep it very, very, very simple. All right. You're going to go over some like legit base type things as it pertains to the defense. What's your base defense? Maybe it's cover 6. You're going to go more so cover 6 on the first day. Then the next day, you might sprinkle in some other stuff. You'll do some man coverage, maybe introduce cover 3, but they keep it very simple because they just want to see guys play and play fast. And hey, let's just give our guys this information. They get all the reps they get to learn because once OTAs start, once training camp starts, the guys that are even like 5th round picks, you just don't get a whole lot of reps unless you kind of work your way into the second group. Most of the time, if you're a fifth round, sixth round, seventh round pick, you're not going with the ones. I mean, shoots. Really, most of the time, outside of maybe day, I'd say like third round, even then, you're probably still going with twos. But the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round guys, they're probably going with the threes. And the way, in my experience, as far as training camp and all that, how it goes is the starters, they're going to get their 5 reps. And then the second group, they get their 5 reps. Then the starters get more 5 reps, second group 5 reps, and then the third string get like 3 reps. So you get very limited reps. You don't get a lot that you can learn off of, right? Because you don't want to make mistakes, but you want to have the ability to make mistakes. But when you have 3 reps, you can't make mistakes and you have to learn from everybody else. I tell my kids I train all the time. Like, bro, you you can't you can't make the same mistake this guy made if I just told him the mistake that he made. Like that's how you get sent home in the NFL. All right. If you see a guy, hey, he did this in Collins, we'll just say a random name. Collins, don't do that because XYZ. I can't come from behind Collins and make the same exact mistake. That's an easy way to get sent home. All right. And you only get very few reps anyways. So that's the one part where it's just, it can get a little interesting with that from that standpoint. So rookie minicamp, you just get all the reps. You get all the opportunity. You can kind of mess up and then you can learn from it. And they're going to coach you up. They're going to teach you up. But that's the most reps that a lot of these young guys will get all the way until maybe they come to starter at some point. All right. And it's really more so about seeing their, 6, 7, 8 rookies that they drafted and then maybe some of their undrafted guys. Everyone else that they get in there, the 30 other guys or whatever it is, they're kind of tryout guys, but they ain't really trying out. The teams typically have no intentions on signing them unless someone really, really, really just blows their mind. And they're like, wow, this player is absolutely amazing. Wasn't expecting this, came from this other league. Man, he got the height, weight, speed. He's balling. Let's sign him. All right. So that's very rare for some of the guys that are, tryout guys. But as far as everyone else, they just want to fill enough guys to be able to. Can we do 7-on-7? Can we do 11-on-11 maybe? All right. And I don't think the 49ers did any 11-on-11, but 7-on-7, let's just see. Let's see our guys. All right. And that's more so about what rookie minicamp is about. Now, it's about 2 days. I believe when I did rookie minicamp, it was like 3 days. And in those 3 days, they they added new things to the what do they call it, man? When you're inputting things. I can't think of the name of it right now, but each day you incorporate new things defensively or offensively, and you start to add a little bit more. And the first day it's simple. The second day it's only helmets, no shoulder pads or anything like that. But you just get to kind of get to go through the things. And I remember I got hurt. I kind of hurt my uh one of the receivers. Like I don't even know what he's doing. Man, Thomas Mayo. Thomas Mayo, what the hell were you doing? So Thomas Mayo, shout out to my guy Thomas Mayo. We actually got signed the same day. But he like pushed me from behind and I like fell with my arm straight out and I got like this deep chest contusion. And so for the rest of the time, it was like rehab nonstop, then get out there and practice for, an hour and a half. And then rehab nonstop. And then next day get back out there, practice for an hour and a half. Like Thomas Mayo, I still don't know what you were thinking, pushing me from behind like that. But everybody's just trying to make plays. You want to make plays, you want to be seen. So I get it. He was going all out, whatever. But you hurt your boy. You hurt your boy. Me and Thomas, we got signed the same day. That was my guy. And we hung out a lot while we were out there. Uh, I had an opportunity to go to the Saints rookie minicamp, and again, that was one of those things where I would not sign. I was actually signed to the Jets, was not signed to the Saints. They had my workout. I didn't test very well, and they're like, "Well, you didn't test well, so it's gonna be hard to just sign you right now." It wouldn't test well. It was just a 40-yard dash. I didn't really know how to run the 40-yard dash. Very technical. 40-yard dash is very, very, very technical. All right, but I didn't know how to run it and they could see that. But I killed the field drills, getting in and out of the breaks, catching the ball. I mean, I got really good ball skills, etc. I killed the field drills. Matter of fact, I have my workout with the New Orleans Saints in February, early February of 2013. Does anybody remember what was going on? Early February, we'll say February 1st, 2013. 13. Does anybody remember what was going on at that time? I'm looking at the chat. No answers yet. No answers yet. Okay, I'll tell you what was going on. The San Francisco 49ers were in New Orleans for the Super Bowl to play the Baltimore Ravens. So when the 49ers and you guys were seeing everything leading up to the Super Bowl and what the 49ers were doing, and oh man, we're excited. I was actually there doing a private workout and for the 49ers. And when I finished up, I finished my workout before they were taking me to the airport to fly back home. I got a chance to eat. I'm eating at the facility. And as I'm walking by, you see the bus pull up, and it's Jim Harbaugh hops off, and Colin Kaepernick, and Ted Ginn, and Michael Crabtree. And I changed in the locker room. And this is how much of a fan I am, right? And I tell people all the time, like, dude, these guys, a lot of these guys are fans of teams. And I was a fan. I changed in the locker room where the 49ers were. So I have pictures of Deshaun Golson's jersey, Michael Crabtree, like all their practice stuff. I have like a couple pictures of it. I think I posted it to Facebook. So if you follow me on Facebook, you scroll through, you'll see it. All right. But that was cool. That was fun. Well, they didn't sign me though. And they were like, hey, but we'll bring you back to rookie minicamp because we really liked you. And then obviously I ended up signing with the New York Jets. Uh the expectations for someone that's on a tryout for rookie minicamp, I don't think they're very high. So I say all that to kind of talk about a guy, Jahcour Pearson, and I hope I'm saying his name right. Now, this is a receiver who was out of Ole Miss. He was actually there with guys like DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Elijah Moore. There was another receiver that was solid there too with AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. Can't think of his name. I believe he was number 5. All right. And that looking at Jahcour Pearson, very, very, very interesting kind of how things played out with him. So again, he was there for 5 years, but when you look at his stats, he had 1 year that was a breakout year, 2019. Now that was the year that DK Metcalf and AJ Brown were rookies in the NFL, so they had just left, and he had a really good year: 76 receptions, 104 yards, 7 touchdowns. Like that's really good. That's really good. And it's interesting that like he had the production that year, then the next year is like 9 catches, and then after that, not much. So I'm assuming maybe there's some injuries going on, but it was really weird that he just didn't have like more production outside of 2019, and he was there 2 more years. So I'm assuming there's some kind of injuries and whatnot going on. But let's talk about maybe why he wasn't drafted and why his path has been so difficult. All right. 5'7", 178 pounds. That's what he measured in at his pro day. Let's look at some of his pro day numbers because I don't think he was a combine invite. 13 reps on bench press, 37-inch vertical leap, which is good. 10-1 broad jump, that's good, not great. 40-yard dash. First attempt 4.38, second attempt 4.41. His 20-yard shuttle 4.07. That is terrific. His 3-cone 7.07, which I'm surprised that the 3-cone wasn't better than that. Like, and listen, that's really good. But for him to be a 5'7", 178-pound guy, like I thought he would be in like the sixes, right? Like 6.78 or in that range, right? Just to have that really quick, short area change of direction with short legs and get going the other way. I would have expected something like that, but nonetheless, that's still good. And his path, I always feel with guys like this because this was kind of like my path to the NFL and just trying to get an opportunity to not get drafted and then have to find your way to, to just get an opportunity by going to Destroying's 101. So if y'all don't know who Destroying is a guy, he was a kicker at UCF, all right? And then he had to pick between being a kicker at UCF or pursuing his streaming, everything that he's doing streaming. And I think he made the right decision. All right. He made the right decisions and decided I'm going to stick with streaming over being a kicker at UCF. And he's blown up. He's making a lot of money. I just heard him the other day say that there was something going on with YouTube. He had to have some checks be sent to his house. His mom opened up the check and called him and thought there was an issue. And she's like, bro, like, son, I found this YouTube check and it was like something crazy, like almost $200,000. And he's like, well, yeah, like that's what I'm making every month. All right, so he's making like damn near 200,000 a month, and that was previously. It's probably even crazier right now. So we're talking about a guy who's making a lot of money, definitely a lot more than he probably would be making kicking unless he was one of the better kickers in the league. But anyways, he puts all these one-on-one events, and Jahcour Pearson was just destroying, no pun intended, everyone at this one-on-one event. And you start to get noticed that way. And guys get different noticed in a bunch of different ways. And I'm gonna get to a comp for Pearson as well. But he's killing everybody there. He finds his way into the XFL. And I'm a little jealous. I'm a little jealous because I wish there was the XFL when I was coming out. Now listen, and Chris said Crock not just one time, and he's a 5-time winner. All right, 5-time winner. So I'm a little jealous though because when I was coming out, you only had really one option, one higher level option in America. All right. And that was playing in the Arena Football League. Now they got different leagues. They got the AFL, which I played in. They got the IFL, lower level, not making as much money, and these different leagues. All right. But it was like, man, it was like Arena League, which I made cool money, but not great. Or you can go to CFL. Now the CFL was interesting because you and I would if Pearson doesn't make it in the NFL, I bet my bottom dollar you find him in the CFL sometime soon. I bet that's what's going to happen. All right, but you you try everything to just get an opportunity, and I'm assuming that the XFL found him one during their workouts, but also you see these highlights and things going around, and don't think that this stuff doesn't mean anything. Andrew Hawkins was a smaller receiver, probably very similar built. He was about 5'7", 180 pounds, ran in the 4.3s. All right. And he had this YouTube. And you guys, after you watch this, okay, don't do it yet. But after you watch this, you'll see this YouTube but destroying Bengals. All right, I don't know what happened, but I'm back. All right, here we go. Now I'm on my phone, so hopefully the phone works. I don't know what happened with the Wi-Fi. I gotta check. Maybe I gotta unplug it and plug it back in. But I ain't got time to do that right now. All right, hey, we live, so you know there's gonna be potentially some technical issues from time to time. But we're back. We're live. We're good to go. All right, so let's talk about some of these guys whose paths aren't just normal, right? Aren't just normal. And I think we see the high level guys. And I would say for the vast majority of guys, your path to the NFL or just to professional leagues isn't a straight line path. Most of these guys deal with getting cut or not even making it to the league. And you see guys with a lot of talent. Maybe they got hurt. They try to go to different leagues. Maybe they were in the league and they got released and they have to go to another league. But you're just looking for an opportunity. And those are the guys that I feel with because I was that guy, you know. And it was interesting, not even really having NFL aspirations throughout my process. I was never a guy who was just, oh man, Pop Warner, all-star legend, Eric Crocker, he's going to the league. Wasn't me. High school, going crazy, all-star guy. Crock is going to the league. Was not me. Junior college, you're amazing. Nope. Flunked out of there. And all of a sudden, D2, you're amazing. I was all conference, but nothing crazy. So going to the NFL wasn't even something that I thought was like going to be a legit opportunity for me until someone in the AFL who had just came from the NFL, and there were a lot of guys, he was like, Crock, why are you here? I'm like, what do you mean? Why am I here? I'm here just trying to, you know, play some football after college. He's like, man, you should be in the NFL. I'm like, what? Nobody ever really told me that. I never had that hype. I never had even someone give me that type of confidence. So, I ended up working my way up and realizing, man, the NFL guys aren't as great as I think we think. But it was interesting to just see what everybody's path to the NFL was like, and then how the business side of things and how you could just be gone. You're there 1 minute, you're gone. I saw a lot of guys get cut, man, a lot of guys, and it was just crazy. Like, wow, he got cut. Why? Oh, well, they just wanted to sign this other guy. I'm like, so it's not even anything that he did or didn't do on the field. They just want to bring this guy in at this totally different position, and that's how it works in the NFL. So with Pearson, I'm hoping that he gets a legit opportunity. We saw the video going viral on 49ers Instagram accounts. The big dogs like my guy Brad Graham with uh, the SF 49ers. And I saw it on Twitter, and it's just dusting the guy. Perfect throw over the outside shoulder. I don't even know who threw that ball, but terrific throw, and you just see the speed and explosiveness. And I'm like, man, Pearson, there's something there. And I remember again how Andrew Hawkins talked about how the 49ers, not 49ers, but Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniels found him, and it was through YouTube clips. And those things make a difference because at the end of the day, they're just looking for talent. And he's a smaller guy. I think there's a spot for him in the NFL because of just how he is and how he plays and quick twitch. Maybe, can he return? I'm assuming with this type of athletic profile, but I'm rooting for him, and I'm always rooting for the underdogs. All right, I'm always rooting for the people that the guys count out. I've made it very public on Twitter. I am really rooting for Jordan Love, and I know y'all Crock. He's a Green Bay Packer. You're supposed to hate them. Listen, these are people first and foremost. And then I talked to a lot of people. Like the one thing I realized when I got to the NFL, I was a fan of the game more than anything else. And then I realized right away, these guys are just like me and you. They just got more money. That's it. But they're normal people. So I can kind of look at Jordan Love's situation and how people have counted him out, how people have doubted him. And I'm rooting for him. Same with Trey Lance, right? Like people doubted Trey Lance out and tried to kick him to the curb. And I get it, high draft pick and everything. And they're like, nah, he's trash. He's a bust. And I was like, man, I'm rooting for Trey Lance. Whether he's on the 49ers or elsewhere, like I'll forever be rooting for him, and hopefully that, to see him become successful. And same with a guy like Pearson or Jordan Love. And I just want to see these guys do very well and just having these long, illustrious careers, hopefully. But Pearson, I don't know if the 49ers signed him. It feels like all the things you see, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know if he's on the 90-man roster right now. Y'all could let me know. I tried to look it up. I didn't see anything on it, so I'm assuming he's not on the 49ers 90-man roster. But he's somebody, if he was, that could be intriguing because you look at the 49ers, and I got my guy Chris in the chat, and he says it's a numbers game, and it really is. And even more than the numbers game, it's just a timing game. It's timing. So yeah, numbers, but man, that timing is everything. And the timing of Brock Purdy, when he was on the 49ers, two quarterbacks going down, right? Let's say if it was 2019 and Brock Purdy was on the 49ers, would have never had an opportunity. Didn't have anything to do with the numbers, but Jimmy Garoppolo played the entire year. So he would have never had the opportunity, right? Same with maybe even 2021 for the 49ers, where Jimmy played most of the year. Trey Lance had to fill in for a couple years, and Brock Purdy probably would have never got the opportunity because only one quarterback went down during that time at a time, right? So it's not even just about numbers. It's about numbers and timing as well. So, you look at it for a guy like Pearson, and I hope the timing and the numbers align for him, and he gets a legit opportunity because there's a lot of ability there. Quick twitch, acceleration. You see what he's doing in the XFL. He's really killing it. I want to say he's either the leading receiver in the XFL or led the season just ended on Saturday, but he either led the league or he was second behind Hakeem Butler. All right, so he's in that range as far as receptions, yards, everything right there with Hakeem Butler. They're neck and neck for 1 and 2. And That tells you right there, like, bro, I can play. Just need an opportunity. Just need an opportunity. We got Gammon in the chat with the super chat. He says, when did you start getting paid in the NFL? So the way they pay you in the NFL, you get paid right away. As long as you're there, you're getting paid. Now, your weekly stipends during the offseason are different than your actual game checks. So I signed a 3-year, $1.5 million contract with the New York Jets. You only get out of that was guaranteed to you. So let's say signing bonus of $20,000, you'll get that off rip, and then the rest of it's kind of allocated over a season. I think my minimum that year was $405,000. That was the rookie minimum, $405,000. Now you get that once week one starts. Outside of that, throughout OTAs, back then, and we're talking about 10 years ago, 2013, the minimum for a rookie during OTAs, I think I was getting $1,300 a week, and they paid you bi-weekly. So every other week, I would get a check, and it was like $1,300. They took some taxes out, I don't know, but it was around like $1,800 every 2 weeks, and that's just your stipend. Like, you're just gonna get that during OTAs and everything. Training camp, it was more. I want to say for a rookie, it was like I was getting like $1,800 during training camp. And again, that has nothing to do with your actual contract. It's just a stipend that you get weekly, so, or bi-weekly, depending on how they pay you. But weekly, you get it's $1,800. I'd have to look up right now what I don't even know how to look up the off-season stipend amount. I don't think I can, so I won't look that up. But the numbers each year, it goes up. So if you and my guy said per diem for travel, no, not even per diem for travel and food. I'm talking about just you just get that during the off season. They don't pay you for travel or food during the off season. Now you will get that during the year, right? So like even in the arena league, when we traveled, they gave us like $150. So we fly in on a Friday. We would fly in on a Friday morning, be there for that whole day, have a game Saturday, and then Sunday we fly out. And that was our arena schedule, and we got $150 really, right? And it essentially kind of just lasts you 2 days of eating and whatever you want to do. So NFL, you do, it's actually more than that. It's like $400-$500. Like, that's what it was back then. So it just kind of, I guess, depends. And I'm assuming it might be more now in NFL, but I was one to kind of pocket a lot of the per diem money. You're not making a lot of money. You don't know when you're gonna be out. You don't know. We got Thailand Digital Nomad. He says, what about accommodation? Accommodation for what? So I just need to know that part. Then I'll be able to answer your question. All right. But here's the link in the chat right here. Boom. Bam. All right. So come on live. Anything that y'all want to talk about, let's get to it. Again, I came on here to talk about rookie mini camp and kind of my experience with it, what it was like. And then Pearson, making waves across 49ers media. And you see that, right? You just see a player with that type of dynamic ability, the speed. It's like, man, you can't help but be like, that's intriguing. It's intriguing. And the crazy thing about it is he's probably a guy that could actually play in the NFL. And for whatever reason, because of numbers, because of timing, just may not really get a real opportunity. Like, think back, I want to say 2017, 2018, the 49ers had Tim Patrick. And y'all probably don't even realize Tim Patrick was on the team during the preseason because he didn't really have a real opportunity. He was a rookie, I want to say. So he had got signed as maybe an undrafted guy out of Arizona, and he was on Baltimore. Baltimore let him go. 49ers signed him for training camp. He played with the 49ers throughout training camp. 49ers let him go at the deadline. Maybe they were like, oh, maybe we'll bring him back to practice squad. And the Broncos said, no, we're actually going to have him be we're going to sign him to our active roster. So he goes over there, and he becomes a legit wide receiver 3. Like, he was just good. And he brought something I feel like 49ers don't have, which is size, and he has some fluidity to him and some ability. And it's just like 49ers were like, no. Let's look at like some of Tim Patrick's numbers. All right. What has Tim Patrick done since being in the NFL and away from the 49ers? Tim Patrick NFL stats. Let's look at it. All right. And I think he's been pretty good. So let's see. I got his stats right here, but let me pull them up on bomb. Here we go. That Pro Football Reference is clutch. So 2018, he signed with Denver. And since then, nothing crazy. The first 2 years, 315 yards, 218 yards. But the last 2 years, he's been a legit wide receiver three. 2020, he had 51 catches for 742 yards. 2021, 53 catches, 734 yards, and 11 combined touchdowns during that time. And yeah, so rookie, he was out of Utah, Utah. So it's like, you know, that could have been somebody that brought something different to the 49ers. And they were just like, nah, we don't want this 6'4", 212-pound receiver that is capable of giving us 700 plus receiving yards in back-to-back years and 11 touchdowns. Not our thing. Not our thing. Crock, didn't you meet Mooch? I met Mooch, but I didn't meet Mooch. And you're talking about Steve Mariucci. I didn't meet Steve Mariucci uh, in the NFL or Arena League or anything like that. I met Steve Mariucci when I was, oh no, it was just during, I don't even want to say a downtime in my life, during a learning time in my life, I guess you could say. I met Mooch. I was living in the Bay Area. I was living in San Jose. I lived in San Jose. I was 21 years old at this time. I lived in San Jose, and I worked at Target in Campbell. All right, so whatever the Campbell Target, I worked there when I was 21, before I went back to junior college. And Steve Mariucci, just on one of my first days there, he just happened to walk in, and someone came over and they're like, "Hey, can you help this gentleman over there in the blue shirt find this movie?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I walk over and I say, "Sir, you need help finding this movie?" And he turns around and he's like, "Yeah, can you help me find, whatever movie it was?" I'm like, "Steve Mariucci?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like shocked. And he's like, "It's okay. Just breathe. I just need you to help me find this movie." I'm like, "What you don't do to Steve Mariucci, this is what you don't do to Steve Mariucci. Don't look into his eyes. Because the dude has the purest blue eyes you will ever see. I don't even know. It's like, I don't know if you guys could tell the color of this. All right. But his eyes are like this color blue. You hear people talk about having like blue eyes or green eyes, but his eyes were like blue. And it was really weird. I don't know. And I kind of got lost in the trance there. I was like, hey, it's kind of, what the heck is going on? It's almost like it put me in a daze, but he was really cool. Steve Mariucci was cool. And I also knew Steve Mariucci from when I was actually younger. And I used to go to the 49ers training camp practices when I was seventh grade, eighth grade. I take the bus up there, and Steve Mariucci would actually call me by name. And he'd be like, "Hey, Crock, did you find any good jersey, or did you get any good autographs, Crock?" Because I would wear my brother's jersey so you can see my last name on there. And I'm like, "Oh, not today." So middle school, Eric Crocker had an interaction with Mooch. Uh, Crocker, trying to find his way in life at 21 years old, had an interaction with Mooch. Outside of that, I ain't had no interactions with Mooch like that. All right, so but that was fun. That was fun. All right, so we got some callers coming on. I appreciate everybody that is here right now, and go ahead and
subscribe to this video.
Oh no, can y'all hear that?
Subscribe to this video.
All right, so right there, that's my daughter, and I was working out, trying to get it in a little bit. All right, so I'm working out, I'm doing some deadlifts, and she walks over to the video and to the camera, and I didn't even know she had said it, but she bent over and said,
subscribe to this video.
All right, so that was fun. That was fun. Cutting that up. All right, so I got a couple people coming on right now, and what I'm gonna do is, Gammon, I'm actually going to let you and Jedi run the show, and I'm going to see if I can fix my Wi-Fi real quick. All right. So Gamma's coming on, Jedi's coming on. Y'all take over. Give me a couple minutes, and I'm going to try to get my actual Wi-Fi right, because right now I'm streaming from my phone, and I don't like doing that, and my battery might die. All right. So real quick, I definitely want to welcome to the show my guy, Gammon Brown. And then I also will add to the show Mr. Jedi.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So the floor will be I'm gonna go backstage. I'm gonna make sure I get this Wi-Fi stuff situated. Gammon, I think you're more than prepared to be able to talk and control the show. I
Wow.
wish you could make it to where you could click some of the things in the comments. All right, but Gammon, the floor is yours. Jedi, y'all do y'all thing. All right, and I'll be backstage.
Wow. This
No
is
pressure.
Oh no, what an
No, no,
honor.
no
I
pressure.
am. Gosh, now I just got to make sure that not everybody just leaves the channel. It's
Exactly,
a lot of
Gammy. It's on you.
responsibility.
It's on you, Gammy. You're gonna
Uh,
take the lead for this.
yeah, so first off, I wanted to recognize a couple big time hitters in here. So we got the coach, and we also too um, we got we got Jesse, and
Hey,
I just want to say, hey, coach. I don't know if you saw my phone number. I don't think I have your phone number. I got a new phone. But if we could link up and DM each other on Twitter again, it'd be kind of fun to have some conversations again. Uh, so I have a question for you, Jedi. So one of the questions in here, and if anybody has any questions, what we'll do is we'll kind of give this back to the chat and see if anybody has any questions. But somebody up here said, let's see here, where were they at? So it's Case 49. Case 49 said, Crock, do you think Isaiah Oliver was the best nickel corner in free agency? We do know that he kind of came from the Panthers, but we'll let Crock answer this question as far as does he think he's the best nickel corner in free agency? The question I have for you, Jedi, is Oliver the best nickel corner on this team?
well, I think you have to look at it as schematics. You have to remember who our defense coordinator is coming from. He's coming from the Carolina Panthers. He knows a lot of their defensive personnel. He went against a lot of their defensive personnel in that division. So I am entrusting Steve Wilkes to go and find personnel not just within the Carolina Panther team, but in the NFC South. So I'm trusting his evaluation. I'm trusting that the 49ers are trusting him to evaluate what he wants his schematics to be on his defense. I think I don't want to say a lot of things, but I do think things will change from what we were doing with D'Amico to what we're going to be doing with Steve. I think Steve's going to be a little bit more aggressive, and I think he's going to demand the man-to-man challenge. There's nothing wrong with zone. I think zone can be implemented fine. It's a good tactical thing to use in the defense, but I think man to man really uh, eliminates a lot of the well, it gives you your defense the real blitz that you really want because you have to be able to hold up just in case the blitz isn't as timed as you would like it.
Absolutely, and I want to thank Chris H for correcting me. And a lot of people they get upset when they get corrected. But the thing is, you know what's weird about this, Jedi, is whenever you start talking, have you ever noticed sometimes a certain word or phrase gets interjected into like a place of another word? And if
Right,
you re-listen to yourself, you're like, wow, I just said the completely wrong things in there. And it like, I don't know, not a Freudian slip, but it's just the lights are on and then
right.
you just feel tensed up and then it kind of happens. In fact, I'm going to lower this top button because it's getting hot in here. But yes, Chris H, thank you for correcting me. If anyone else has any more corrections, I actually do appreciate it. He said Oliver came from the Falcons. I must have said Panthers by accident, but yeah, he came from the Falcons. Now, when we kind of talk about Chris Oliver being the best nickel cornerback on the 49ers, what do we saw a lot of hot flashes from Womack, right? We saw it too. And then really, if I'm being honest, I really wish that we saw a little bit more of Womack.
Right.
I really wish that we also too we saw. I'm going to say this. I would like to see us get tough up front, link up, hit my DM Brody. We got a lot in store, brother. I guess I should read this out loud instead of like monologuing it in my mind. The coach with the super chat. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe, Coach. I hope you're liked and subscribed. You're sending the super chat. It says tough up front 77. Ready to link up. Hit my DM Brody. We got a lot of store, brother. We got a lot in store, brother. This is just the beginning. Love the content, fellas. Represent us. Look, represent
Thanks,
to the
Coach.
fullest. We
Yeah, I
stay
think
loyal.
Coach is in the DMV area. So, Coach, we got to link up one day if you're in the DMV area, like I think you are, because I think I watched a couple of shows with the coach. So, yeah, we got to link up as well.
Yeah, I really like how he said represent us. Yeah, I mean, look, we stay loyal to the soil. 49er gang 916 said, where are you at in Sacramento? So right now I'm in the military, but my family lives in Sacramento.
Nice.
We're not from the dirty 209 Stockton like Mister Crock is, but it's pretty good in there. Let's see here. Scott
Awesome.
Hill at 910. He asks, "What rookie has the best chance to start?" Now, if I want to take the weasel out approach, I would say Jake Moody. But
Right.
if I'm kind of sitting here and I'm thinking honestly, um, I think it's really between Winters and I'm going to say Jair Brown. I mean,
Yeah.
that's on the defensive side.
Right.
On the
Right.
offensive side, I think people are going to pick Cameron Latu, but I really do like the. Why am I? I'm getting a brain fart. Help me out, brother. The tight end that we got in the 5th round.
Uh, um, Mr. Willis, Brayton.
Yes, Mr. Willis. I think I find that really kind of intriguing, but I really do see what I think about when I think about Latu is he's kind of like the Trey Lance of tight ends. So they were really intrigued by him because he didn't spend a lot of time at tight end. I think he was
Right.
converted defensive end, and so now what you're kind of seeing is, and also too, he comes in. Charlie Warner's 240, Latu's 246. He's a young like I when he's like a young puppy who hasn't grown into his paws. I
Right.
eventually see him like really filling out his frame. And it's something that we're not really discussing or talking about is that I see him becoming like a 255, 260, like just a hulking, shearing like behemoth of a man, just an absolute
Right. Right.
Adonis. Um, let's see here. The coach says Luter for me. I like Luter. I want to get on the bandwagon, but I just
What's
don't
your
know. I just don't know enough about him.
Luder?
Callie Young says Willis. Um, okay, Nenner Gang, you were in the military for 10 years. Shout out to all my military vets.
Awesome.
If
Yeah.
you
Thank you
were in
for
the
your
military,
service. Thank you guys,
yeah,
all y'all, for your service.
yeah. It's so awkward when people say thank you for the service. It's just it's a comfortable. So I try to say thank you for your support. I really don't know what to
Right.
say,
Right.
especially right now. There's no war going on. But yeah, anybody who if you were in the military, just let us know kind of what you were in and what you did in there. But yeah, but to re-put the
Right.
question onto you, who do you think would be who could make it as a starter from the offensive side and from the defensive side, real quick, and then with Croc, I couldn't highlight the question, but it's run from Case 49 at 9:02 a.m. where he said, "Croc, who do you think Isaiah Oliver, or Croc, do you think Isaiah Oliver was the best nickel corner in free agency?" But for you, Jedi, just real quick, spit out a name um,
Yeah.
that you see.
Is it Jair Brown? That's his name. Did I say it
Yeah,
correctly?
you can call him Tig. I want to say Big
Take.
Tig
Yeah.
because I'm so
Yeah.
used to
Yeah. I seen his
BT in the basement.
I seen his handle. So yeah. I think Jair. I do think with Gibson there. At free safety. I think Jair is a little bit more of the faster, younger version of Gibson. I think he can beat him in training camp. I'm hoping he can. Um, I mean, I hate to say this, but if you want me to give you the clear cut shot, is Moody because who's in his way. But
Right.
all these guys have someone. All these guys gotta prove to the coaching staff they got a battle ahead of them. So I think Daryl Luther is probably another one that because of the cornerback situation, because I don't know outside of Mooney who is that second cornerback position locked up. I don't know if Diamador has it locked up. I don't know if anyone has that position officially locked up. I know Mooney Ward will be starting on the starter side. I don't know who's going to start on that other side. So I will go ahead and give Daryl that nod as
And then one on offense, real quick, and then so that way Croc can answer this
well. And
question.
if I had to pick on offense, it's just funny. I have to look at the tight end battle, but I'm gonna do like you. I'm gonna pick Braden Willis, and I just because I think Braden can beat Hughes checkout at certain
Really?
area at certain
Okay,
areas. And I want
formations. Yeah.
yeah, certain formations. Not I he's not a better blocker than Hughes check right now. He's not a better blocker. But I think you can scheme him up in a way where he can show off his passing and route running ability. And I think he might have a step on
Yeah.
use check in that field right there. Now,
Hmm.
Crocker, I could be wrong. You guys can let me know, but I'm not saying he's better than use check.
Right.
I'm saying in certain aspects, like in Madden, when you break down certain things and things they do, there are certain things I would want to see Brayton do compared to use check. Where if I'm running, if I know I'm going to hand the ball off, I feel comfortable use check leading away.
I'd say this, and it's tough because I have never evaluated a game film on of Kyle Juszczyk, right? So everything that I see from Juszczyk is ultimately like the result of a play, as opposed to seeing what he does away from the ball, etc. Where so it's not really fair to Braden Willis because I've been able to kind of sit and really dissect his game and see where I feel like he wins and loses or what what his skill set is, how it translates to the 49ers. I do think as it pertains to Braden Willis, he looks like he fits more of a Kyle Juszczyk role. um, I wasn't as impressed with him from a route running standpoint or in the open field. And then I think one of the things that really jumped out to me was his lack of speed. But I think if you kind of keep him more in that short area or around the line of scrimmage, kind of like a fullback or somebody that does the things that Juszczyk does, where you don't have to be the best route runner, we can kind of sneak you out here, or we could do these things, or we could fake it to you and throw the ball to you. I think he does that well. Now, again, this is the part that's not necessarily fair to him because again, I've seen just I haven't evaluated use check, but use check feels like a more fluid athlete than Braden Willis, whether
That's
Mhm.
he's
fair.
out in space or as a route runner as well. Uh, and I think that's one of the bigger differences between those two guys. And then Peacock had looked it up. I didn't look it up, but I think Kyle Juszczyk, even from testing, and he's been in the NFL for a long time now, so maybe he's not quite what he was coming out, but I think his testing numbers were far superior
Okay.
to Braden Willis. And then the other part of it is, how well does he retain the information? One thing about a guy like Kyle Juszczyk, he's kind of a quarterback of the offense. At times, when it comes to doing line checks and getting guys in certain things, he does a lot of that for the quarterbacks. And we think a lot of times, oh, it's a center, right? Or first, I think people start with the quarterback position. Oh, it's a quarterback, and
Right.
then you hear about the center and all the site adjustments and line adjustments and blitzers and things like that. Well, with the 49ers, it's also Kyle Juszczyk. He does a lot of that as well. So I would think that Brayden Willis would be primed to play more of that type of position. I did hit my guy Grant Cohn last night, and I DM'd him and said, hey, where did they have Brayden Willis lining up during rookie minicamp? And it sounds like
Mhm.
it's more of your traditional tight end.
Hmm.
But I'd like to see him in more of a Kyle Juszczyk role because I think that's where he'd probably be more successful. But not sure if he'd be as successful as Kyle Juszczyk.
Look, I'm not wouldn't say right now you're going to see the results. I think there's going to take obviously some experience to build up there, but I want to see what it where I want to see training camp, and I want to see, I guess, hear you guys reports on what goes on in training camp, and I want to see a little bit of preseason, see where he stacks up.
If that's Case 49's actual suit, like if he owns that suit, that is so clean. My goodness. But yeah, but Croc, two-part question. So Case 49 asks, Croc, do you think Isaiah Oliver was the best nickel corner in free agency? And then what I wanted to kind of undertow that comment with is Isaiah Oliver the best nickel corner that we have on this defense? And I preface that with what Steve Wilkes is looking to do, because I think that Steve Wilkes is going to ask for his exotic blitzes, right? From his nickel corner, from bringing back the days when we'd see Navarro Bowman blitz, or maybe even like a safety blitz, that sort of thing. So kind of taking that all into fold.
Yeah, well, I'd have to have a list of the free agents up in front of me, guys that were free agents to kind of look at who would potentially be the best nickel. But I did see some numbers on social media about the Falcons and their nickel play and then where that ranked as far as the 49ers. And the Falcons were more middle of the road, and I know that's where Oliver played mostly. And the 49ers, they were not as high on the list. So just from that standpoint, it seems like, and again, 49ers might say, hey, they did these things with Oliver, and he did these things well to where they were kind of middle of the pack at the nickel position. And man, if we do these things with him, he'd be even better, right? Like there's a chance you see something like that. I also know with Wilkes, and Not that I paid a whole lot of attention to Wilkes' defense in Carolina, but I did see them use JC Horn in different ways, or
Mhm.
as more of the kind of that star player, some nickel type stuff. And I want to say that was his rookie year prior to his foot injury, but a lot of what we see from Jalen Ramsey, right? Like, and if they're looking for that type of guy, then I'd say Oliver is a little bit more suited to do that than maybe other nickels that the 49ers have, and maybe that's their plans for him. But it's kind of hard to know without truly seeing it. And I hope to really get out and be at training camp. I know Peacock and I were just talking about trying to get credentialed for training camp this upcoming year. So,
Ooh, you're gonna get your credentials back.
Awesome.
it's been a long time. So they had somebody there, Rob, God, what was his name? Lang. Rob
Okay.
Lang. So
Yeah.
they have Rob Lang.
Mhm.
And do you guys hear an echo? What do I hear?
Yes, I do.
No.
Oh, I don't know why I get an echo. I got an echo going on, but it's kind of lower. But anyways, so Rob Lang, he was someone who, I mean, I could email him and he's like, "Yeah, Croc, you got it in your credential." But he left to Philadelphia. So since then, I haven't tried to get credentialed. But also, they actually pushed back on on they pushed back on podcasters.
Really?
Yeah, they want people that write articles.
Are they still? And I'm not trying to be cynical or anything, but are we still doing that? I mean, it seems like the newspaper industry is dying. I mean, I didn't know that they were, you know, depending on the newspaper writers to still, the journalists, the old-fashioned journalists to be. I would think they would be welcoming you guys, being that seems to be the new form of media. That's
It's
weird.
it's new. It's new and old, right? So I mean, these credentialed members of the media, they've been covering teams. Like you look at somebody like Matt Barrows, and I'm not saying like he's the one who's against it or putting up the fight or taking it to the task. But you look at someone like him, and he's been doing this for, I think, like just covering the Niners, not even just sports, but just the Niners, I think, for over 20 years, right? So they kind of have a really good stake, hold, and claim. And in that industry, it comes down to two things: what you know, and then who you know. Like anything else. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of feedback from the echo.
I think
My
it's
close.
Jedi. Hold on, Jedi. I'm gonna put you on mute and I'm gonna see if we still hear it. Hold on. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So, oh, echo's gone. So it must be you might have a YouTube channel that's opened up alongside with the StreamYard. Um, but yeah, I think that it could be kind of the new versus the old. I mean, you had Draymond Green going like, "Hey, this is the new media." So we're just kind of waiting for other people to kind of step in line, right? And sometimes progress kind of takes a while. Croc, I had a question for you. Another question.
Hold on. I do
So-
want to say one more thing about
yes.
it. So yeah, there is kind of this new versus old thing, and we're trying to get them to understand like y'all want the information out there, and it shouldn't matter with how we get the information there, whether
Right.
it is writing or if it's podcasting. At the end of the day, are you being represented well? And I feel like on Locked On 49ers, we represent the 49ers extremely well, and we have a really big audience. Most of the time during the year, I mean, it's where our episodes are the top 49ers podcast. Matter of fact, and I haven't tried this, but I hear if you go to like Apple Podcasts or whatever, and if you type in 49ers, like our podcast is the first one that pops up. And I haven't tried that, but y'all can let me know. But that lets you know, like, man, we have a lot going on there and a lot of influence, and not trying to like push influence on people, but just in the sense of why would we not be credentialed,
Right.
but they do stick with people that write. So if you look at a lot of people that are credentialed, they all write for various platforms, whether it's, Grant Cohn and those guys with SI 49ers, and Cohn, we know, was a part of the Press Democrat. Also Barrows and Mayoko and guys that are a part of,
Mm.
well, I think Mayoko's, he's like plugged in with the actual 49ers. And then you have Barrows, who's, I want to say, with the Athletic. So, everybody that you see that is credentialed, they've kind of gotten it through more of the writing part of it. And then some of them, it feels like they're more tenured in, or
Right.
just like no matter what they do, they're just going to be able to get in. But guys like me and Peacock, who I was credentialed, but now they have somebody else. I think they got a newer person this year, and I might have an in. So we're going to work it to try to get more credentialed, at least for training camp. Like the regular season, I don't care about being credentialed during the regular season. I've been credentialed during the regular season, and I would much rather watch the games from home or from the stands. But for training camp, I would love to be right there so we can give you guys much better and updated information.
There's a million questions because I'm so much of a nerd that I could ask you about that, but I don't want to do that because I'd feel like it would bog the
No,
stream
go
down.
ahead, go ahead. Because look, you might have questions that other people are like maybe interested in as well.
So I think Jedi, you can just nod or maybe throw me up a one if it's something similar to what you're thinking about. But is there some form of, because you're saying, because like I said, in all industries, it's not only just about what you need to know something, because you can't just be an empty wagon makes a lot of noise, so you got to have some weight in the back of that truck. But also too, it's also who you know. So you're saying like, you guys are counting on somebody to kind of shoehorn you guys in. So I guess Jedi, and you tell me if I'm right, if we're barking up the same tree here. Is there some kind of gatekeeping that kind of goes on there? Like it would seem like there'd be like, what is the process to getting credentialed? It sounds like you only want to be credentialed for a certain part of the season. You have to re-credential up for what I mean? Like behind the curtains, what is that going on? And is there gatekeeping there?
So I don't know about gatekeeping. I know that my experiences have been very pleasant. The one thing that was interesting with me being credentialed, I definitely look a lot different than the other people that are credentialed. I think that's pretty clear.
Right.
But just I had got in through, and some of you might remember, I actually used to write. So there were people that asked me to write. Shout out to my guys from Nothing But Niners, and I'm like, I'm not a writer. Like I'm not writing anything. If you guys want me to come on YouTube and talk, like I'm all for that, and I would do that with those guys. I'm not writing. Well, actually, my guy Dylan DeSimone, he used to be a like editor or whatever, whatever for like Mailco or Barrows, one of those guys like back in the day. So he started his own website and it was called Fourth and Nine. And he asked me if I would come along with him and just help grow it. So that was kind of how I got into all this. I just started writing, and he just told me, "Don't worry about how you're writing, but just write whatever it is that you're seeing. Break it down however you want. Pull some clips, put it on there, and then he'll edit it and make it look good." Well, my writing was actually better than I thought it would be, and this is the cool thing. A lot of it had to do with just how much sports I consume. So not even knowing how to form, I didn't go to school for none of this stuff, right? But I didn't know how to form these articles and all that. But because I read so much of it and I write and I listen to so much of it, I was able to kind of speak that language. And it was actually a little bit better than I thought. But anyways, I wrote for Fourth and Nine. That was how I got credentialed, through this small website. And sometimes they would come up to me like, do you have credentials? And it's like, yes, sir. Because I look different. I mean, I'm tatted up, and you guys see me, my legs, everything, right? So I look a lot different than everybody else. But I was in there, and I got and at first it was they credentialed me for a few training camp practices, and then the next year, they credentialed me for all of training camp, and then that same year, which was 2019, the Super Bowl run, I was credentialed for 5 regular season games. The only times I couldn't get credentialed is if it was like a big like ESPN game or something like that where they needed more people. But again, I like the experience of being credentialed for the games, just so I could say I did it and it was something really cool. But that's not my thing. You can't cheer, you can't be excited, you can't, and then for me as a podcaster, I want to get on and we want to record right after the game, but you can't do that. You got to go and, you talk to the coaches and the players and things like that. And that was cool, asking Buckner questions, asking Richard Sherman questions, asking Kyle Shanahan questions. But it was cool for that time. I just would rather stick with training camp though.
So why is
I don't know if that's what's going on, because everybody was really cool with me. Everybody. I mean, the Barrows, the Mayokos, the Jennifer Lee Chan, my girl MJ Acosta, who's now in NFL Network, doing her thing. We were really cool, Shoots. Why can't I think of her name right now? Martin.
for the 49ers. She covers.
Kenya,
Kenya.
Yeah, Kenya. Like we were real cool. You know what I'm saying? So everybody was really cool with me. They all showed love. It was really cool. But so I don't know if there was gatekeeping from them. I think some people, they just want to make it more difficult for certain people, and they just want you to. I don't know. I don't know. But they let other guys in. I didn't see them let guys in. I'm like, they don't got the platform that me and P got. Like, how these people get it? So I don't know.
You know, and I'm so glad you brought up her name, because I've been forgetting about this for the last 2 to 3 weeks, I swear, and it would be amazing if you were able to either get her on this show or Locked on 49ers. But Jennifer Lee Chan, I think she would just kill it. I think everybody here in chat would go crazy. And this is crazy. She's been around and so well known, but it just doesn't seem like I went onto her YouTube channel. She doesn't have like very many subscribers or anything like that. And it's always been so bizarre, but she's always been such a wealth of it. I'm really glad too that you highlighted that comment too, because that was going to be the next part that I was going to go into.
And then here it says the NFL credentials are not the team, from what I hear. I don't know. We reached out literally directly to the team, and the team credentialed us. I think each team has their different ways of getting it, but I don't think it's the NFL. Now, maybe for like a national thing, but as far as like covering training camp, covering games, the 49ers, they can pick and choose who they want in. You just have to kind of meet their guidelines.
But if you were credentialed from them once before, and
you could get in through, like, there are more people like so I'm standing on the sideline, right? And this is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm glad you guys brought this up, or whoever brought it up. But maybe I brought it up. Oh no. But I'm standing on the sideline and I'm watching practice, and a guy from roster watch, right? So there are people that really don't have anything to do with the 49ers, but they're just a member of the media, and they'll come through. You see that a lot. And maybe they're credentialed through the NFL, or maybe like, the NFL Network people and stuff like that. But that wasn't like my experience with it. It was really one person, and he'd just be like, yeah. And then he'd be like, hey, send me an article. So he'd read the article. Okay, represent them well, keep it going. But watching George Kittle, heading into year 2, and the roster watch guy, he's asking me, and I'm watching practice, and I'm like, man, Dante Pettis is not quite there. I'm just watching it, and we're standing there. And one thing that starts to happen with me being on those sidelines, those people, they ask me, Crock, what are you seeing? They'll ask me, because they know
really?
They know that I think they know I see the game a different way.
Right.
So they'll start to kind of pick my mind. But there's be sometimes some random people, I'll just start talking to them. And the roster watch guy was like, who do you see out here right now, like on this offense, that's like going to be a guy? And it was kind of hard to find that guy. And I'm like, I think George Kittle. And it was hard to see it at that time, because we saw rookie George Kittle, and he was cool, right? Took over. They were able to trade away Vance McDonald, and said, all right, you got this rookie. But he didn't go like crazy. And then that year, I want to say he had the year that was really big, where he broke the record. And I didn't foresee that coming. But I just remember, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, he looked how he moves, he's fast, look at him, and you just see him making some plays in practice. And I'm like, I think George Kittle. But it was kind of hard at that time. We're talking about 2018 season, to find someone that was going to be a difference maker. But it helped me kind of see and spot George Kittle in practice, because I was just able to be there and just kind of really see it. And then the interesting thing too is the totally different perspectives that one person might have as opposed to someone else. Because, even last year, and I wasn't at every practice. I went to 3 practices, and I'm watching from the stands. I wasn't credentialed, but watching Trey Lance, and you'll hear these way different perspectives of it, and what I saw and what other people saw. And that's the part I think that's so interesting, just the different ways that people see the game. That's interesting. And what they say, now I'm kind of going on the tangent here, but there was a guy.
You about to get me started in a minute.
Yeah, I got you. You're good. So, and I'll let y'all go. But there was a guy, covers the 49ers, does an awesome job, amazing job. But what he had said about the connection between Debo, or really Trey Lance, on deep throws, and all I could go off of was the 3 practices I watched. But he was talking about those practices, or like he had talked about one of those specific practices where he's like, oh, Trey Lance continues to struggle down the field. I'm like, well, he threw. I saw him throw 4 deep balls. I saw 2 get caught, and the 2 incompletions were to the same person. It was to Debo Samuel. So why is it phrased as he's struggling deep? He's struggling deep to throw to Debo Samuel, but I saw him complete these other 2 deep passes to these other 2 guys. So, but you'll hear one guy, oh, Trey Lance struggling with deep ball, then that's what goes viral on social media. But what I'm saying is not a struggle. It's okay. Debo Samuel was strapped both times. He couldn't outrun Emmanuel Mosley both times. One in one-on-ones, one in team. But then Trey came in and completed the other 2 to one to Brandon Ayuk, and then there was one to another guy. But he's like, he's struggling, So like the way people phrase it and word it, and then I see the reaction on social media, and I'm like, that's not quite what I saw. And there's more than that. There's more than just that. Like you'll see the numbers come out, right? And you'll see these, Trey Lance completed 9 out of 17 passes, right? And it's like, well, 2 of the incompletions were vertically pushing balls. Another one, everybody was locked up and he threw the ball away, right? So and it's like, well, but I saw him make this throw, man, this third down throw was really good. This third down throw. So it's like the struggles, even though from a completion percentage, it's not great. But I'm watching them, I'm like, I don't see this bad. So it was just very interesting to really see totally different perspectives on it, on what I was seeing, not just from Trey, but like just in general. Whereas, like, oh man, this cornerback, he's struggling. And it's like, well, I saw him break up 2 balls. Yeah, he did get beat down that sideline that one play, but then he broke up these 2 passes, and I thought that looked really good.
Yeah, I think people go out of their way to criticize Trey Lance. I think people go out of their way to criticize. Crock, I watch a lot of football, bro. I've never seen so much people make up their mind with a kid that's had 4 games. Or what? Is it 4 games? Because I don't think it's more than 4 games.
He has finished 3 games.
3 games, and we
Right, so we got the Cardinals, Texans, Bears, and he started the
Seattle game
Seahawks game and only played 2 drives.
Right. So, and we've made an evaluation. And I'm not saying that Trey Lance is the answer. I'm just saying I don't know. And this is the part. I'm actually, now that Jimmy's gone, I'm out of that toxic little battle with people now. I'm not even getting into it no more. I'm to the point where if Brock is the winner, he's the winner. If Trey is the winner, he's the winner now. I actually like both of these young men. I think Brock has came in with a great personality on Trey, and I think Trey has came in with a lovely personality on Brock. I want to see either one of these 2 gentlemen succeed and take our team to the next level. I am so deterred though by I can't figure out the locker room, so I'm not going to talk about the locker room. I'll let you do that, Crock. You the insider. You can.
Well, I've talked about like just locker rooms in general. I think the fans and maybe media make a bigger deal out of a locker room, depending on the locker room. Now, look, every locker room could be different. I've been in different type of locker rooms, but for the most part, the way that things are portrayed from the outside are drastically different than what I've seen from the inside.
Right.
It's nothing. It's a lot more exaggerated than how it is actually in the building.
I'm just going to speak on the fans and the people I see in the comments on sections and certain podcasters.
You can't do that though, Jedi. You know why?
I know. Yeah, I know.
And that's typically who I speak to as well, because it's y'all. So like I'll see people say certain things, and then I try to bring a different perspective and get them to think a different way. But fans, their reactions are going to be more exaggerated, right?
Yeah,
like
I just think like
want so that's it's, and there's that's just in general, right? But fans have more of a exaggerate fanatic, right? Like fan is the root word for fanatic. So fans, their just perspective on it will be different than the locker room.
Is it toxic to you guys? I mean, was the Jimmy years with Trey getting, because I think a lot of that toxic stuff is one of the reasons why we didn't, to me, the blueprint for Trey was, I mean, people want to put the injuries, and I mean, like you put the injuries and the finger stuff and all that other stuff. But I just feel like it gets too toxic for both sides, for Brock's side or for whatever side you claim it. And it has to be at a point where, all right, when is it about success? Because if Trey brings his team success, I'm all in for Trey. If Brock brings his team success, I'm all in for Brock. I don't think we should be rocking Brock. I mean, excuse me. I don't think we should be bringing Brock back so quick. If you want to have my honest opinion, because that injury does make me nervous. It makes me. It's too close of a baseball injury. I forgot the exact wording of it. The word for the
Tommy
baseball
John.
injury. Tommy John's. It to me, that injury needs to be taken with baby gloves. We need to. I would put Brock on IR to start the season and have him 8 weeks before I even. That's just me.
What I ideally would do, right? And we'll just say, if I'm having a conversation with my wife about our team, right? Like, let's say we have a team and we're trying to figure out certain players and more of a long-term play. I use my wife as an example of like sports, whatever. But hey, we know we have this in our back pocket, right? And maybe we'll look at it from like a business decision or whatever. But we have this in our back pocket. We know what this is. We did invest a lot in this. We still don't know. What we could do without trying to derail our season is, what if we sit this guy for the first 4 games and we put it out there that we want him to get the added rest and ability to really ramp it up and do team stuff and which I say that, but I think that's what he's going to be doing starting training camp. So but this is a hypothetical situation. I think Brock Purdy's going to be ready week 1. All right, but let's say you want to see Trey Lance, because that's the issue right now. You just don't know. Like, you don't know.
Do you really believe Brock will be ready week 1?
Yeah. I believe he'll be ready.
I don't know.
Now, is there a chance for a re-injury or something like that? Like, I don't know. I ain't no doctor, but listening to the process of it, how they figure it kind of all plays out, the timetable of all this, it really feels like week 1 he's going to be ready to go. Like that's what it feels like. So, but if you
I feel like they
to
say
truly
two different
see-
things. So one time they said, okay, John came out and said, yeah, looks good, everything's on track. And then Kyle came out and was like, we'll see a couple of weeks into the season. And then they came out later on and said, well, no, everything looks good and it's tracking to be week 1. So I just want to make sure, and I'm not saying I want to make sure. I just hope that they're not rushing this
Right.
guy to be week 1 instead of just saying, you know what, like you just said, we know what Brock is. We know what Brock is. So if you can make sure he is violently throwing the ball, he is attacking the rehab, whatever the training is, to take it to the next level. That's why I said IR for 8 weeks. To me, you give yourself 8 games with Trey. Trey got to figure it out, or Trey gone. That's your Brock. We're giving him his 8 games to show us what he has. Now Trey can go 5 and 3.
I don't know if I would do 8. Like, for me, it would be, you got 4 games. And it's just so that I feel more comfortable with, if I am going to move on with Brock Purdy and he is who, we believe he is as, quarterback, etc. I have to see Trey. Hopefully, he's been hurt and whatever, but I at least got to see him string together 4 games and what that looks like, just to know, okay, this is not like, and he's behind, not great, whatever. Okay, Brock Purdy, maybe you win 2 out of those 4 games.
That would be my next question. If he goes 3-1, if Trey goes 3-1, Crock, what do you do?
That's tough.
So I kind of want to interject.
Hold on 1 second, real quick. Let me get to the super chat.
Pay them bills.
Right, and Coach, I appreciate the super chat. He says, Crock, you're not giving yourself enough credit. It's ticking me off how you're downplaying your skills. Bro, evaluators are communicators, writers, or
Raiders.
All right, and observers, among other things, their credential and about your skills. So I don't think it's my skills, because I feel like we do a good job, communicating and all that, and then having the platform of Locked On 49ers. So I don't think it's so much about the skill. I think it's just, and I don't want to use the word gatekeeping because I don't, or when I think of gatekeeping, right, I think of, is it, Mayoko and is it those people that are trying to keep other people out? And I don't think so at all. They were nothing but great and very welcoming to me, who is clearly an outsider. I was a lot different than other people, and I have a much different background. And it felt like, at least to my face, that they were all really cool, and they go out of the way to say hi and hey, Crock, and they were really cool. But I think it's just 49ers or just NFL teams in general. It's like, hey, we're the Mecca. All right. So you want to get in here, it's got to be our way. And I think it's more of that than even get like just a certain level of just, this is how we do things here, bro. I think it's like more of that than like someone just saying, oh, well, we don't want Crock and Peacock to come in here. We would, I don't think it's that.
Right. And I wanted to kind of take like probably about a good minute and a half. I'm going to see if I can. But like, so what I do is I suffer from anxiety and everything else. And so sometimes to keep on track, I'll write like all these notes before I come on. So in that way, when I start to stutter, slow down, or whatever, I have something to kind of reference back to. I'm not like a lot of normal people, unfortunately, to where I can just come off the cuff and just stay on that level plane. So anybody who's out there, I saw a couple people who had 3 flames at the start of the chat. I did check in on you guys, wanted to make sure that you guys were good. But I say this, the only time with a quarterback where I was kind of like what you're talking about or alluding to, Jedi, about wanting to kind of keep the baby gloves on them, right? Or keep the floaties on them, was when Alex Smith had that gruesome leg injury. And then when he's coming back, I was like, man, please don't do that. Because then I started picturing, his wife in the stands, and then just like, can we just hand off the ball 1952 style and just get him out of there? Like I didn't want anything like that. And then I started having some brief kind of moments with Tua with that last year. It was very apparent that he came back in way too early when he shouldn't have. I think there's a difference between being ready to start week 1 and then being the starter week 1. I do think that Brock Purdy will be ready to start week 1, but will that be enough suffice of time? Will Kyle Shanahan seen all the practices, everything else that needs to happen for him to do that? The other thing too I want to say on this is, and Jedi, I'm going to ask you this one question, be yes or no question. The record for the 49ers and for the Eagles was identical by the end of the season. I don't think that we should have lost that game against the Broncos. If we had Brock Purdy starting instead of Jimmy Garoppolo against the Broncos, do we beat the Broncos?
Yes.
Then we would have won at least 14 games last season. Minimum 14 games last season. And I think that the temperature and everything else would have been a little bit different playing another home field game with Brock Purdy here in Santa Clara, which honestly I think was a huge boost for him, those playoff series that entire way. So, when I really think about this team, outside of our fan base, and I try to go facts over feelings. I really don't care. I don't care who our quarterback is. I don't want to play it as, hey, I'm a man of color, so I have to go for Trey, right? Or somebody who's white and they go for Brock Purdy. Terradome is singing Brock Purdy's praises from the highest points of the ceiling, coming all the way down. I don't care if you have if you have one eyeball, right? You've got 3 arms, a pink body, green feet. You're a centaur and 3 nipples. Like if you are the best quarterback and you can get us a championship, honest Jesus tap dancing Christ, that's all that I care about. I mean, I'm tired of the last 2 Super Bowls that we lost were just painful. And I'm just going like I can't see us really upgrading too much more on the offensive end. Carson Wentz is available. If I had my, a lot of people threw a lot of hate at us picking up Sam Darnold. But before we picked up Sam Darnold, everyone was pressuring John Lynch to get us a veteran quarterback. I didn't care if it was Carson Wentz. I didn't care if it was Baker Mayfield. Honestly, I really don't care that it's Sam Darnold. But any one of those 3 guys, is better than Josh Johnson. The other thing too is I'm really glad about Trey Lance, and I'm going to come off as like a Trey Lance hater. I'm not a Trey Lance hater. I said this last year. I said I hope that everybody gives Trey Lance 8 games to play. Also, too, this was my take last year, and Crock, you might remember this. I said that the 49ers, they're going to start off the season, and the offense is going to look kind of wonky. Someone said, well, Gammon, your take is wonky. I said the 49ers were going to start off 3-5. They start off 3-4. I got a lot of hate for that. Now, every single person who covers the 49ers is now going like, oh, well, the 49ers are going to start slow because that's their MO. But I was getting hate for that, like last year for saying that, right? Because it just, again, facts over feeling.
You get hate for it, though. I got hate for it. I did I was live with Bleacher Report on right after the schedule release.
Right.
And I was like, I think they'll lose week 1. And people were like, lose week 1, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. They're starting 8-0. And it's like, dude, all we've seen is the 49ers start slow, right? Or just it can look a little weird, especially offensively throughout Kyle's tenure as the coach. So, and then you're on the road in Pittsburgh. I get it. It's Kenny Pickett, and maybe the 49ers destroy them and him. But, it just has always looked a little weird. Think back to, I want to say, was it week 2, week 3? 49ers played the Pittsburgh Steelers in San Francisco, and 49ers turned the ball over 5 times in that game. Now, they still won, but again, that goes to the kind of slow start offensively, the weird things that go on. And luckily, the defense was just kept taking the ball away, but it looked weird a lot of the times. And I think we've seen that more times than not with the 49ers offense, no matter who's starting that quarterback, whether it's Jimmy G or Trey Lance or Brian Hoyer. It hasn't really mattered. It's always kind of looked the same starting off the season. And then come middle of the season, they start to really get in the groove, and then they get to clicking towards the end of the season. And we've seen a lot of that. So yeah, your take, you might have been a little bit ahead of your time, but I think no matter who the messenger is on that, they're going to get pushback.
Right. And Polyester said Terradome is living in the past. That's why. And my whole point was it doesn't matter. People are trying to make this into a racial issue. Terradome just wants to win. That dude is one of the most impassionate brothers that I see that come on here. And I've asked, Crock to get some church organ music going for him because the man does preach. Some of us just to win. That's why when Crock asked that question and he said, hey, would you rather win a championship like a Super Bowl, but then just be unbearable to watch for 5 seasons following that? Or would you just rather be a competitive team?
This is a competitive team. Or the way I phrased it real quick was,
right.
Would you rather me guarantee you a Super Bowl 1 year, or be competitive for the next 10 years, but you don't know if you're going to win a Super Bowl? That was how I phrased it. And a lot of people would take that 1 year Super Bowl and be unbearable for the next. So
basically,
9
do
years.
you want to be the Atlanta Braves of the 90s?
or the Rams right now, right? And then and then another point here, Harold says, don't be surprised. Cousins will be here next season. And you know what? If you look at the Minnesota Vikings, they've franchise tagged him so much that they are going to have to let him walk. And the other thing, too, is here's this tough pill to swallow for every 49ers fan that's here. I don't care what race you are, what God that you pray to, or if you do believe in God, it doesn't matter. Here's the thing. The 49ers, we don't really have a quarterback. We have a bunch of tier 2 quarterbacks, and they have a stable of running backs because they know that they can't keep them healthy. You know what I'm looking at? And I'm going to get heat for this too, just like I do every single preseason whenever I make a big announcement. They purposely have a stable of quarterbacks as well because they know they can't keep them healthy. I said this last year. I said, when are because you, Crock, are the voice for us, right? You, Peacock, right? And some other you guys that are prominent out there are the voice for us fans. And I said, when is it going to be? Because I said this like 3 weeks ago. I said, I already know what's going to be written or what one of your new channels or your shows is going to be called. Did the 49ers do enough on the offensive line? Well, you know what? They had an all-world pro, one of the best quarterbacks ever of all time in Patrick Mahomes, and they lost in the Super Bowl. And they're like, you know what we need to do? We need to fix this offensive line. The best Colin Kaepernick ever looked was standing behind one of the best offensive line. Right now, last year, what gave Hurts that MVP season was an offensive line. They couldn't produce on that front. So they're like, okay, if quantity is its own quality. And here's the thing. Yeah, you're right. The rumors next season, We already know what's going to happen. They're going to be talking about, regardless of whatever Brock Purdy does, they're going to be talking about Cousins or however well Trey does, however well Sam does. The next talk is going to be like, oh, do we need it? Because we don't have a quarterback. We know none of us is convinced. I'm not convinced about 8 games, 5 games, 3 games, and a quarter. I'm not convinced about any of it. Neither should you, but also too, neither are the 49ers. So we don't. Here's the hard, tough pill to swallow. We have middling quarterbacks. They're going to get through it through a committee, just like they're treating their quarterback room like a running back room. The quarterback money, and we're not going to be able to afford Cousins. So I'm going to pop that bubble right now. I was talking to Jason Hurley the other day. We're not going to be able to afford. I understand the rumors are going to be there. That's going to be clickbait. I'm going to call out whoever tries to do that just for clicks and get this fan base riled up, but we're not going to be able to afford that. Because you know who we're paying quarterback money this year? It is Nick Bosa. I estimate that he'll be getting $38.5 million a year. Now this year, maybe it'll be his $17 million will be brought down to 10, but then next year it might be actually that's who's getting quarterback money. We can't afford to pay quarterback money. So I'm gonna I don't know. I haven't read the chat. I don't want to because of my anxiety, but that's what's going to happen. And then also too, Crock and Jedi, actually, let me pose this question to you, Jedi. Next year, not including Bosa, not including Brandon Ayuk. Okay. But next year, our top 10 contracts are going to run us $199 million. Players 1 through 10. Now, 1 through 15 is going to be 229, something like that, $1 million. Pre-Bosa, because his money will kick in next year, not this year when we rework his contract. Do you think that we've overspent either on our own guys, or is this also too? Are you looking at this like, hey, maybe we need to go out, we need to get Houston and Ngakoue, Peter, because we can't really upgrade on the offensive side. Do we need to do a Rams all in with the money, because we'll still keep our picks, but is it clearly this year's our all in year? Because do we have Trent Williams next year guaranteed? Ask you that question.
Yeah, so to answer it, I'll piggyback off with something you were saying about us not having a franchise quarterback. And I think when you say something like that, and Crock, you understand this as well, you're basically saying we're not only do we not have a guy that we can depend on for 10 or 15 years down the road, we're not going to be paying anyone Josh Allen money, Patrick Mahomes money. We're not going to be paying anyone coming up any kind of real franchise cash, even Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson. So that right there, you start to think about as not taking your payroll up into one position. Now, is that a good thing? Is a bad thing? It's not good, but I don't think it's the worst either. I think right now we need to evaluate truly Brock Purdy and figure out the road of, are we going to move forward with Brock Purdy? Do you feel like right now we should make a decision on paying Brock Purdy for the next 5 to 10 years? Or do we need more an evaluation on Brock Purdy? And I think that's fair to say we probably need more an evaluation on Brock Purdy. And the same thing goes for Trey Lance. We wouldn't be paying Trey Lance. I think that's fair enough to say. We wouldn't be offering him a future deal, and that wouldn't take up any of our salary cap either. So the question comes to the quarterback, because I guess I would have to say, do we want to find a franchise quarterback? Because
do we need to? Do we need to?
I think we need to. I think that, and I heard Kay Adams on talking about, well, anybody can play for the 49ers. It's like, obviously, that's, we know what she's saying. Any competent quarterback can play for the 49ers, right? Like, you can't be CJ Beathard or Nick Mullins and think you're just going to bang out all these wins. But in the sense of just winning games, if you're a competent quarterback in the NFL, you can win a lot of games with the 49ers. I believe that's true with this current roster. But the reason why you need that type of quarterback, like a top tier type quarterback, is for the exceptions, right? Like the times where you need somebody to go above and beyond what the team is giving you on that given day. And a lot of times when it starts to get into the playoffs, that's when things can get a little weird. I mean, look, I remember that Dallas Cowboy game. I don't know how that would have gone if the defense did not just stifle the Cowboys offense, right? So you don't need quarterback to ball out in that game. But Philly, maybe it would have been a little different. You know, they were scoring points. Now they got aided. And listen, we can talk about context and whatnot. But at the end of the day, man, we had to score more points. And that's when, you know, it's not fair to the 49ers because your quarterback, Brock Purdy, got hurt so early in that game. But regardless, it looked like you potentially were going to have to keep up with them. And I think that would be a little bit more difficult. But I'm going to get you guys out of here now. Gammon, Jedi, I appreciate both of you and the insight that y'all brought today. And when, you know, you guys coming on at a time, I was having some technical difficulties. You guys came on. Gammon, you did an amazing job running the show.
Awesome,
so I appreciate that. Do you guys have anything you guys want to say as you head out?
The two teams that were in the Super Bowl were also the two teams with the best offensive lines.
There we go.
I do think the 49ers will have a top 5 defense this year.
All right.
All year.
They might need that. I'm curious to see at some point does the 49ers defense take a step back and is not a top 5 defense? And if they're not a top 5 defense, what does it look like in the sense of win-loss record? Because I think the defense helps the offense out.
We're all winners on Underdog Fantasy, codename Crocky. That's all I'm saying. We're all winners.
Subscribe
there.
to Crock. Subscribe to
right.
Crock. Exactly. Subscribe, people. Subscribe.
Underdog Fantasy, where's it at? Right there.
There it is. Subscribe to my man, y'all.
All right, Underdog Fantasy. That's promo code Crocky. Download the app or go to underdogfantasy.com. Again, use the promo code Crocky, and they'll match your deposit up to $100. Which, hey man, tonight you got the Lakers, you got the Nuggets. Exciting times. I'm probably not going to do my workout thing in the morning. I'm gonna be up all night watching the game. The worst part about living in the South, being in the Central Time Zone, is probably how late the games come on. And then how late, like when they go off, man, it's like damn near midnight. So I'm tired of that. But I'm going to be up late. I'm going to be excited. We're going to be watching some Los Angeles Lakers basketball. Any predictions? I know a lot of people picking the Nuggets. So I'd say this. I think the Lakers are the 49ers of the NBA right now, right? The Lakers, again, I'm going to say it again. The Lakers are the 49ers of the NBA right now. And the reason why I say that is it's not this splashy brand of football. It's a little bit more gritty. You know, you kind of got to grind out wins. You know, they're not a team that's going to hit 23-pointers, but they're going to play really good defense. They're going to play stout defense. All right. There might be some, you know, flopping. However, y'all say flopping. I say selling the call, which I think we see a lot from pretty much every team. And their role players step up. And then you look at their point guard who kind of facilitates things. Is he not Brock Purdy? Is Austin Reeves not Brock Purdy, right? Not the most athletic, not the flashiest, but, you know, has some weird moments. Then has some times where you're like, hey, this is a guy. He's going to be getting paid. He's going to be a long-term starter. So I think the 49ers are a lot like the Los Angeles Lakers. They play the same kind of brand of football. So that's just, you know, just my thoughts. All right. But I see the things coming in here. Lakers in 6. Nuggets in -3. I think there's a little hating going on right there, Emiliano. All right. But who is going to stop Rui? That's a great question, Ralphie. That's a great question. Somebody said, wait, I thought Brock was LeBron. Not quite there. Not quite there. But heck yeah, man. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in today. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button. I'm going to try to get these shows up. But my days have been so jam-packed and busy. It's hard for me to keep up and load this stuff to the damn podcast stuff. But I'm going to do that so you guys have the audio version of all of this. I appreciate everybody that has been in here. Make sure that you subscribe to this video, as Young Pickle says. All right. And love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for joining me on today's show. And I'll see y'all soon. Peace.